Hi there, I'm Michael Hill with Canine Chronicle TV. And today, for our Influencers series, I'm here with Ryan Wolfe to find out who was impactful in influencing him to become the dog man he is today. How are you, Ryan?
I'm good. How are you, Michael?
I'm so well. So let's start at the very beginning. How did you first get involved in the sport of dogs?
Well, my family has shown dogs for a long time. My grandma was a professional handler, cocker breeder. My mom was a cocker breeder handler, and I just kind of followed in their footsteps.
You were born in the whelping box.
I was.
Was Cockers the first breed that you were involved with when you were just starting out?
Yes, Cockers is my family's breed. Even though they bred some other breeds also, but Cockers is the breed that I would call my breed, and I don't show a lot of them these days, but I still love the breed, and
To have your
and
heart.
yeah,
When you were first, growing up and you're younger, being tagged along to the dog shows, did you see this as something that you wanted to do with your own life, or did that take longer to develop?
no, I mean I saw it pretty early that I wanted to show dogs, and um, I mean I played sports and I loved sports, but there wasn't a whole lot else that
It
I
was pretty
wanted to do
clear.
other than show dogs. Yeah.
When you were first getting involved, at a younger age, did you do juniors or work for anybody?
I did juniors. I started in juniors as soon as I was able to start showing, and then yeah, I worked for a lot of people. I would go to the shows and work for a lot of people on the weekends. Um, and then as I got older, I went and worked for a couple of different people.
When you were in juniors and at that younger age, who were some of the more impactful professionals that you ran into outside of your family?
I would say Corky and Sue Vroom, Lori Jordan, Fenner, um, got Pam Lambie. I mean, these are all people that I worked for that
Yeah.
had a big impact on me.
What were some of the key takeaways that you remember learning from those people that you might not have picked up as at growing up in the sport?
The biggest thing that the biggest thing that I got from all of the people that I worked for is the care of the dogs.
Mm.
That the care of them comes ahead of everything.
Number
Um,
one priority.
Number one priority.
And I'm sure that still are things that you remember in your day to day when you're tired and you're exhausted and you're traveling and kind of faced with that those harder days as a handler.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, every day, no matter what, no matter you're tired, you're sick, whatever you are, you still have to have the dogs as your priority. They still have to be taken care of, and that's it is the number one thing.
Mm. And so you have this foundation, and you've worked with different handlers and kind of given the opportunity to see different things. What was the transition like for you going from that stage of life to working as your own business and as your own professional handler yourself?
Um, I mean, I would say for me, it wasn't a hard transition because of the fact that my
It was
mom,
so
my
natural.
grandma were both handlers. So I grew up watching all of this stuff and I saw everything. So, it was a pretty natural thing for me to just go into handling.
Second nature. Did you still call on them in times when you were, not sure what to do?
Well, I mean, my grandma died when I was 11, but
Mm.
um, my mom, I mean, I still talk to my mom about things to this day. Um,
Oh, I love it.
she's probably the biggest impact on my life and career, with dogs. So
Mm.
I still turn to her for advice today.
That's awesome. So, and I'm sure there's also a difference once you started kind of hitting that higher level where you're campaigning dogs and you're involving more um, strategy as you're trying to kind of hit those bigger goals. What were some of the um, bigger challenges that you may have accomplished that you were proud of, as a handler, and who was impactful in helping you get to those points?
I mean, I guess that, we all strive to at least win our first best in show. So, that was obviously a challenge. And then, you strive to have your first number one dog. And
Who are those
so, I
with?
mean, oh, my first best in show was with a Chinese crested, Patsy Cline by Jove. And my first number one dog was a Welsh Springer, Manny. Um, and I mean, those are just a couple. When you get started, you want to get those goals.
Right, those are your
So
aspirations.
yeah.
And so now, in present day, where like when you have people working for you, or you run into other exhibitors, or new breeders, or handlers at the dog show, what are some of the key points that you try to emphasize, like to make the most of that contact with somebody, to draw on your experience in the sport, and kind of help guide them to have such a lasting involvement like you and your family have had?
Well, again, back to what I originally said about myself, the care
Hmm.
of the dogs. I'm always stressing the care of the dogs to anybody that works for us, to um, owners, owner handlers, anybody. It comes down to the care. But then after that, they need to learn how to properly present each breed and groom their breeds. And, if you want to be competitive, you've got to be able to groom the dogs properly and present them properly.
Right, it's a technical profession for sure.
Yes.
Are there any other people in the sport that you kind of hold in regard or as icons for you? Maybe you never worked for them or had much of an actual relationship, but that you've kind of modeled your career afterwards?
I mean, I wouldn't say that there's people that I've modeled my career afterwards, but there's a lot of people that I absolutely look up to. And I mean, that I'm not on their level, may never be on their level, but I mean, Michael and Michelle Scott, um, they come to mind. I mean, they are the epitome of professional, I would say, in this
Absolutely.
in this sport. So, and there's a lot of other ones, but um, that's one of my better
Y-
examples.
Well, I think that's a great point to emphasize, is that there's the care of the dogs and there's loving the dogs, but then also there is the word professional handler for a reason, because it's a business. And so there is
Right.
an importance, I think, in learning and understanding something that doesn't always come naturally to everybody, and maybe we don't have access to learning, but is also just as important sustaining a long-term career.
Right.
Are there any other recommendations you might give somebody from a practical standpoint when they're saying, well, what else can I do to progress, and like to get those things like grooming and presentation information? How is the best way for somebody to start accessing that?
Well, I mean, I would say to anybody, even if you aren't going to be a professional handler, if you want to be a successful breeder owner handler, go work for somebody. Learn from the professionals, because the knowledge that the professionals can give you is invaluable.
Mm,
Um, I wouldn't know how to groom half the breeds that I know how to groom if I didn't go and work for somebody.
yeah.
And so whether you're going to be a professional or not, it's a good idea to work for somebody if you want to be competitive.
Yeah, it's not something you can just Google.
No, no, I wish we could.
But that's what keeps us engaged and keeps us learning. But thank you so
Right.
much for all sharing with us, Ryan. It's so great to hear how you and your family have sustained this involvement multiple generations and continue to do so.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. Have a great day.
You too.